What's going on?
What is up? How
Another
are you
episode
doing?
of Sports Bicker. Um, we back, man. We back like cook crack. You know what I'm saying? Uh, we took a hiatus last week.
Mhm.
We were too busy, but a lot of stuff going on, man. Started OTAs in the NFL. We got started mini camp this week. OTAs was last week. Few things to talk about.
Mhm.
A few things to talk about.
Mhm.
You want to start off with anything? Because I got some things that I
I
would
know.
like.
I know. The number one thing that you probably want to start off with is what the hexagon is going on with the Bengals, right?
That too. That I thought you was going to talk about the Terry McLaurin contract.
We
But
can talk about that
we
too.
can we can get there. We can get there. But yeah, the bet because the most interesting story of this offseason has to be the Bengals. It has to
One hundred
be the
percent.
Trey Hendrickson situation,
Yeah.
and it has to be the Shamar Stewart. To me, at least, because with their track record and everything that they're known and not paying players and not paying players. Um, you would think that they would try to get ahead of this. Um, you dealing what they dealt with last year with Jamar Chase contract and him holding out throughout the offseason and then finally just saying F it and playing and then getting his contract. It's kind of crazy because if Jamar Chase would have got injured last year on his final year of his contract, he was kind of gambling with his career because he might not have got that check if he would have got injured. So that's something that is very a lot of players aren't willing to do. And say Trey Hendrickson is looking to be paid, and they
And he
haven't.
did that twice. Like he should have gotten paid twice already. And I think he's been hit. I don't know if it was with the salary cap or whatever was the case, but they've told him, please just be patient and we
Yeah.
perform where, and we've seen players say, no, you're going to pay me now. But he was one that, loyal to the team, wants to show, okay, hey, I'm a team player. I believe in you guys. And he didn't push back on that. And then the year,
Mhm.
boom, sack leader, right?
And it's crazy because he's your best defender. Your two best defenders from last year, Jermaine Pratt is gone. And
Mm-hmm.
I want to mention this because this is another layer in my mind of why the Bengals are just they don't do the right things. If they would have released Jermaine Pratt earlier in the offseason, when everyone was getting their deal, he would have made so much more money. He just signed with the Raiders for $4.8 million. He missed out on so much money by them waiting so long to cut him. If he would have went into free agency at the beginning of where free agency started, like all the other linebackers, he would have had a chance to sign a deal worth like 8, 10, 12 million a year. But the Bengals dragged their feet. They weren't upfront with him. They waited long to release him because they don't care. They don't care about Jermaine Pratt, where he goes, how much money he makes. They're worried about money, how much money they save, and it's kind of really sad because they finally paid Jamar Chase, they paid T Higgins. Only reason why I think they paid both of those guys is because of their quarterback said, "Hey, you're going to pay both of these guys, or we're going to have a problem." That's the only reason. So, and Jermaine Pratt's gone. He was their leading tackler last season, and now Trey Hendrickson is still not paid. And you had one of the worst defenses last season. And then your rookie, not to mention your rookie, is talking shit about your team, talking about, and I quote, he said something like, uh, they're not interested in winning games. They're only interested in winning
Wiener.
arguments or shit like
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, bro, you got your rookie saying some shit like this. Like, what are you doing as an organization, bro? If I'm a player, I'm not looking to go to the Bengals. I'm not. I'm not looking to go to the Bengals because I know when it's time for me to get paid, or if I'm playing well and it's time for me to get my contract, they're not going to do right by me. They're not even going to release me in time to get paid by another team. You know what I'm saying? So it's interesting, man. I saw some reports where Shamar Stewart might be considering playing out, well, waiting out this whole season. He's 21, but he might be considering waiting out this whole season and re-entering the draft. We live in a day and age where we have NIL, so he made some money in college, so he's not broke. You know what I'm saying? So he has some money in college, but I don't know, man. What you think? I don't know.
I mean, it's definitely. I mean, you hit a lot of points that were, like, hitting the nail right on the head. Um, it's just, well, we first start off like how you set it up. Their defense has been depleted, right? With the surprise retirement of Hubbard, um, and like you said, this
Yep,
whole
Hubbard.
Trey Hendrickson thing, um, and then you would assume that the reason why they would leave Jermaine Pratt and allow and release him would be to make room to be able to sign Trey Hendrickson. But it's just wild that you wouldn't try to maybe do both or whatever the case. I mean, they spend a lot of the money on the offensive side, so who knows? I don't know exactly how much money they have if they could have. Um, Paid at least like Jermaine Pratt, Hendrickson, and the two wide receivers. Um, but this is poor planning. This is something that really goes to show that when you kick the can down, eventually you're gonna have to pay or lose the players, right?
Yeah.
They could have signed Trey Hendrickson 2 years ago and he would have been set, right? And all of that. Um, but it's just very interesting. And I don't know if you saw the video of Stewart when he was talking. Um, it was very calm. It wasn't a thing of him like being too expressive or
Yeah, he
him
wasn't
coming
upset
off.
at all. He
Yeah, he
wasn't
wasn't. Yeah,
he wasn't upset. He wasn't throwing by anybody under the bus. And you kind of gotta respect it. I mean, he's still showing up. He showed up to all the OTAs. He showed up to training camp. Well, he left training camp now. He's not coming back
he's
until
not
this.
there. Yeah,
Yeah, he's not
and
there, but he was there for the first day. He was there for the first day and part of the second day, but then he just left. But like you said, I mean, they gotta. It's crazy because their window, the type of quarterback that they have a win now window,
hmm
and
hmm
when you got all this distraction going on in the offseason, it's not a good look. It's taken away. You got your quarterback talking about this shit. Like people are. It's just not conducive to a good football environment. You had the same shit last year, and you guys missed the playoffs. So it's like at some point you can't be so cheap. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to pay some. You got to pay if you want a good team. You're going to be paying good players. That's just the nature of it. You know what I'm saying? You got to
yeah.
pay to win. Like you're going to be the Chiefs are paying Patrick Mahomes. They're paying their defensive lineman. I can't think of right now. Like
Chris Jones.
when they're Chris Jones, when they're cornerback, I think he's going into his third season or fourth season. When he's up to make money, they're going to pay him like McDuffie, that's his name.
hmm
When he's
hmm
up, they're going to pay him because that's what it takes. You're going to have to pay these players. Like when it's time
Yeah.
to get paid, Hendrickson just wants a new contract. He's earned it. He's had 17 and a half sacks over the past 2 years. He's been literally the only bright spot in your defense, and you're just not going to pay him. Just
The
give him.
only hesitation I could understand, and it's such a petty move or it's such a messed up reasoning, is because the dude's 31.
Yeah,
Right?
I get
Like
that.
he's on the older side, right? And you do you really want to give him a max contract? But the dude's been with you through thick and thin. He's been a team player. You asked him to wait, he waited. You asked him to perform, he performed. Like how many hoops are you gonna have the dude jump by? And you can tell when I saw him do some of the interviews, you could tell that he did not like doing the interviews. He this
Hmm.
is this is something like that he was not expecting him having to do. But like at the same time, he has to do what's right by his family. And so I don't know. I don't know what is gonna happen this season. I mean, I know you said in our group chat. Um, if they don't sign Shamar, like if Shamar decides to sit out and Trey Hendrickson leaves or whatever the case may be, uh, this is a punted season, right? And not only that, but as you was talking about the window, that window's closing, and also I think the biggest thing that you said is what kind of message does this send,
Right.
right? Like, and I'm big on defense. For me, defense wins championships, not offense. So I get you wanting to make sure you pay great offensive players, but you need to make sure you have a defense because
Right.
I
You
mean,
gotta get
defense wins.
that was their problem last season. If they would have had a mid defense, Joe Burrow was probably in the Super Bowl. Like, how do
Yeah.
you that's the thing I don't understand. Like their whole issue last season was defense. That's all it was. So going into the offseason, you know that's your biggest problem by far, and you get worse.
Hmm.
You don't pay your best defensive player. You don't pay your first round rookie edge rusher. You let go of your leading tackler, and you don't add any stars to the defense.
And
Like
one of
you
your
just
main workhorses retires, Hubbard. Don't forget Hubbard. He's
Hubbard. Rich, I always forget Hubbard, but he was already on the tail end of things
yeah, but he
last
was
season.
solid.
But
He's solid.
he was solid. But with all that said, like who's running this team? And this goes back to what I said. They're the only team in the league without a general manager. They have a player person. They're so cheap. They don't even want to pay an actual general manager to run their team correctly. Like if you can't, like my thing is like it sounds like they don't got the money to do much. Like they don't really have the money to really do much. Just sell the team, like because like you said, defenses win championship. You have a window to win with Joe Burrow. You got your weapons on offense. You have to spend money to win. You have to put your team in the best predicament. And over the last 2 seasons now, all it's been about is off-season contracts with not wanting to play players. You already know your defense is terrible and you're not doing anything to help them guys out. It's just like we just gonna see. We're gonna see. But I see another season where they're averaging close to 30 points a game and their defense is giving up 35 or some shit like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. It's and then I feel bad for the fans, even though I know the fans are very loyal to them.
Yeah.
And we've had instances when we talk about because we got some Bengals fans in our fan group that say, "Oh, you guys are obsessed with us," and it's like when we're not. We're only
It's
talking about your team because they keep making very
headline.
questionable moves. Yeah, like every
This
time
is
it's
this
this.
the thing,
No
like
team is doing this. No other team is going through this. The only team that's going through this is yours. So like
right.
obviously we're gonna spend time talking about it.
Yeah, it's the off season. There's not a lot of things to talk about, but this is
True.
one of the most interesting, intriguing things to talk about. Like it's kind of mind boggling. I'm under the impression where they didn't. I don't think they needed to pay T Higgins in my mind. I think if they were going to be this cheap, they should have never paid T Higgins. They still had Jamar Chase. They still have Gasecki. They still have solid pieces. You could have used that contract to improve a much needed improvement on defense. If you were going
Hmm.
to pay T Higgins, you should have had a plan in mind to see what you're going to do to defense. It's irresponsible in my mind. Like you can't if you knew you couldn't do both, be an adult and do the one that is more important, which is the defense, because that's the one that kept you out of the playoffs. I think their offense will still be really good, at least top 8 without
Yeah.
T Higgins. So
Especially with how
that's my
many
piece,
cornerbacks there are still out there. Free Stephon
bro.
Gilmore's
They
still
could have
out
got
there. Jair Alexander's now out there. Jaden
it's
Ramsey, I think, is still out there. I don't think anything
when
has
the
been
when the
official. Like,
when the free agency started, like so many players want to play with good quarterback. They want to play with Joe Burrow.
yeah.
They want to play with Josh Allen. They want to play with Patrick Mahomes. As long as you give them the contract they deserve, they're going to come play with you. But you
Hmm.
have to spend the money. You have to. And it I don't know if they can't spend it or they don't have it or they don't want to. It's one or the other. And I don't believe that they don't have it. I really don't.
It's just, and
So
it's crazy, like, to think that they don't. But I don't know. There's one move they did last season that was very like mind-boggling to me, and it was that they were selling a bunch of the TVs from the stadium at like relatively cheap, like it was I think it was like $100 or something, maybe 500. I don't. It was like something like that. I want to say it was like
mhm.
100, but like it was like you. first come first serve, and you bought the TV only cash, right? And they're doing these moves like that, and then
Yeah.
yeah, they're out here acting like they can't pay or they don't want to pay. And also, just going back to the contract thing, is it my understanding that from what the contract, the stipulation that they wanted Shamar to sign was that if something was to happen to him, if he was to get injured, then they could void, aka not pay him for the remainder of the years.
Not only the year, but years with an S on the
Exactly.
end. So they
Exactly.
can void or pay or not pay his guaranteed money for the remainder of his rookie contract. So if he got injured, there was language in there where I'm not exactly sure what that language is, but the language was if you got injured or if you had any off the field concerns or if you got suspended for a amount of games, you would be eligible to not be paid your full guaranteed money on your entire rookie contract. Now,
Hmm.
this has never been done in the Bengals organization. They have these type of contracts are now this is something that's different. These type of contracts are going around the league. Like other teams do have these type of contracts that have their rookie sign, but this is something that the
But
Bengals
do they,
have
I
not.
don't know. I don't know if they have that clause though. Another.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
So from my understanding, some teams do have that specific clauses, but
Oh.
some teams, the teams that have it, they've been doing it for a very long time since they could probably have to do it. Um, since they had the chance to do it. I don't know if it's a lot, I don't know if it's a few, but from what I've seen, there are some teams that do have similar contracts to that. I don't know if it's the same exact, but they have similar contracts to that. What
Okay.
Shamar's what Shamar Stewart's problem is the Bengals had a pick last year. They had the 18th pick. I
Hmm.
can't remember who they picked up, but his contract is different from Shamar. Shamar's the 17th pick. All he's asking for is the same contract you gave the dude you just drafted last year. And I can't blame him for that. I can't blame him for that. For coming into a situation like, hey, if I get injured, I'm not going to get all my guaranteed money. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
If anything happens, I'm just shit out of luck. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't blame him for that. The teams that do have that implemented, I don't know which teams they are. They shouldn't be, you know, making rookies sign those contracts. That makes no sense. If you're a rookie coming into the league and you get drafted top 10, you should have a certain amount of money that's guaranteed whether you're injured or not. You're coming into the league. If the team was worried about you being injured, they shouldn't have picked you top 10. They shouldn't have picked Shamar Stewart if they were going to worry about him getting injured and they're going to put all this weird stuff in the contract. You should have just traded back and got more picks. I really do hope Shamar Stewart gets his way and they fix this contract. Or I hope he sits out, bro. I hope he sits out and he goes to another team and he balls out for his career. I really
Yeah.
do. Or I hope the Bengals just change the contract, bro, because this is going to set a precedent. If Shamar doesn't win this and he ultimately signs, teams are going to start to implement this shit more and more. And it's not going to be a good look on the rookies coming in because we're going to see rookies get injured and miss out on so much money. And it's not fair to them. It's not fair when these owners have all this money and the salary cap keeps going up every year. Like they can afford it. They're just being cheap.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. All
yeah.
right.
I
Well, we
also wanted to
shall
discuss
see.
the I also want to discuss Terry McLaurin, who also
Yeah.
is didn't show up for OTAs or mandatory minicamp. I think this is a different situation than Trey Hendrickson's situation because the last time he did this, he sat out. Well, I think it was like 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. He wanted a new contract. He sat out for OTA, sat out for mandatory minicamp. Before training camp started, he got paid. So I expect him to get paid sometime in July. The thing that's messing it up is, in my opinion, is Jaden Daniels is a rookie. We don't have anyone under contract through 2027. So we have a lot of guys on 1-2 year deals right now.
Mm.
Um, and they're doing that because they know come 2027, they're going to have to pay Jaden Daniels if he
Mhm.
keeps playing the way he is. So they're being responsible. They're being responsible so they don't pay all these crazy things so they can be able to pay Jaden Daniels. But the thing with Terry is that he's 30 years old, just like Trey Hendrickson, which is Crazy. So he's 30. And they can't really agree on, we don't know if it's the years or we don't know if it's the money. And it's interesting because we just talked about DK Metcalf. Remember, we was comparing DK Metcalf and Terry
Yeah,
McLaurin.
yeah,
He just signed his extension. He just got 35. I think that's a little bit of overpayment because I already know Terry's agent is probably in those meetings like, hey, DK Metcalf just got 35 a year. Terry
yeah.
McLaurin is better than DK Metcalf, or he's at least on his level. So
Hmm.
he needs to get 35. And I already know like that contract could have messed up, like because these contracts set precedences. When Myles Garrett got his money, the next big edge rusher, when it's time for him to get paid, he's going to get close or more than what Myles Garrett got. That's how it works. Just like wide receivers,
TJ
like
TJ Watt is the one
yeah,
that's like
TJ
coming up.
Well, I don't know about TJ. He's 32, so we'll see it. What he probably get close, but we'll see
TJ's
how that
32.
goes. No, he's 30. I meant
Yeah.
two, like he's 30 as well as Trey
Oh,
Hendrickson.
okay, okay.
Um, but that's what I think they're discussing on. Terry probably wants 35. Commanders probably want to pay him 30. They're still trying to figure out on a meet in the middle, probably about 32, 33. And then Terry probably wants 3 years. They probably only want to give him two because they're trying to make sure the books are clean come 2027. So it's that type of stuff. Ultimately, I think he'll sign for a 3 year, like 31, $32 million deal where they front load his guaranteed money in the first 2 years. So come 2027, he either has no guaranteed money or it's low. It's a low amount of guaranteed money. So
Yeah,
I think that's what they're going to settle on. But that's going to get done. Like there's faith. When you heard Dan Quinn, our head coach, talk about it, his tone is like we're gonna like. He doesn't say it, but he says things like, this is where football and business meet. And he speaks highly of Terry the whole time. He's like he's been a focal point. When the Bengals coach talk about uh Trey Hendrickson, it's like he's just trying to get the conversation over with. Like he doesn't even say too much about it. He already knows the situation is fucked up. I kind of feel bad for him because he's in the middle of all this shit with the owners and with the players. He has nothing to do with it, and they're asking him questions. It's just like, bro, I don't have no control over this, bro. We know, like, I'm sure he wants to pay. He probably would pay Trey Hendrickson, but he
yeah.
went
I,
ahead
I
and
mean, I mean, I wasn't too worried when I heard about the Terry McLaurin thing, just like
yeah,
the TJ Watt thing. I mean, those
yeah.
are players that are pinnacle pillars of the team, and they're there. Like they're gonna get paid. They're gonna work something out.
I
This is
just
just
thought of
something they
something.
have to do. What's up?
This is a random thought. What if they traded TJ for Terry McLaurin?
No,
Would
no,
it be an even
no,
trade?
no, no, no,
The
no.
Steelers are looking for another wide receiver. They've
That's
been like,
fine, but I'm not giving up TJ Watt for a
okay,
number two. I would give up TJ Watt for a
you
number one, but not
DK and Terry would be 1A, 1B. They would be like the Bengals, and you would have Aaron
yeah.
Rodgers.
With draft picks or straight up.
If I'm the Commanders, I'm not giving up any draft picks for
Mm,
TJ Watt. So I don't know if that'll go through, but
yeah,
it's
I don't
something
think.
interesting. I
I
just
mean,
threw
it's
that out
interesting
there.
to think about. Yeah, I don't think that would happen though. It's just because TJ's way too important. Those
So
players are
yeah,
just, and I think that's like if they were to lose, if the Steelers were to let TJ go, it would be kind of like the Bengals situation. And oh, okay, you're just giving up this season because you're not making it anywhere without TJ. That Steelers defense.
to be clear, I wouldn't want TJ over Terry. To be honest,
Okay.
Terry means way too much. He's like the he's the most important commander other than Jaden Daniels. He's been here the
Yeah.
longest. He's been through all the quarterbacks. He's the leader in the locker room. He's the captain. I wouldn't want. I don't think that would go.
Exactly,
But it
and
was.
that's
I
and
just
that's
throwing
how
that
this
out.
that's how the Steelers feel about TJ. But no, those contracts are gonna get signed. They're gonna
Right.
get
Correct.
figured out. It's just gonna take some time. It depends how long. But
Hmm.
it's just always interesting. Or what's interesting to me is how these owners like. There's not a rush to do it, And I don't know if sometimes, because sometimes in the language of these contracts, it's like, oh, if you get it done before set date, then the player makes an extra $10 million or whatever. But if you resign them and negotiate the contract after this date, well, then they don't get that, and then you can just
Yeah,
sign them to. So maybe that's playing part into it. I mean, I don't know their contracts exactly, but how is it that these owners are willing to play this wait and see game and run risk of the contracts of having to pay these players significantly more, right? Like you still
right.
got Micah Parsons in Dallas that hasn't been re-signed, right? And so if I'm one of these teams that has a pass rusher that needs to be signed after what the Cleveland did with Myles Garrett, I'm trying to get this contract done because I know the next one that comes out might be higher, right? So
Yeah.
like if I'm trying to actually save money, I'm trying to get this done. Like that's why I love what the Eagles did, where they saw their top players, right? They knew, hey, these players, we can't re-sign them, so they got rid of them. They let them go to free agency, let them go in time, ba ba ba, and then they signed the players that they saw were worth it to the max, to not to the max, but to those deals right away, and did not waste any time. And you saw that with the 49ers as well. Like the 49ers were very quick about making their moves and stuff. And these
Hmm.
teams that tend to wait and see and let's see how the market plays out and all that, like it ends up costing them. I would say like 90% of the time, it ends up costing them. So
We we talked about this before. If they would have
yeah,
paid Jamar Chase last year,
uh huh,
they would have paid him less. They would have more money. Um, they would have been able to pay if they would have just paid Jamar Chase and T Higgins last year. They would have paid him. They would have been able to save more money to probably sign Trey Hendrickson. But like you said, man, when you wait and it's no point to wait and see where the market goes.
I
The
just
only
don't get
reason
it.
you're waiting is you're waiting and hoping your player that's on your team has a bad year. And that's what they did with Trey Hendrickson. He
Yeah,
had 17 and a half sacks 2 years ago. They were probably thinking, okay, let's wait because he's probably not going to do that again. And then we will have the leverage and he's going to sign. But no, he went out and balled again. And now he's demanding what he's deservedly right, supposed to be getting paid. And it's like they're in a conundrum, bro. They're in a conundrum. And it's
and
like,
another team that has shown this is the Raiders. I mean, the Raiders got ahead of it, way
yeah,
ahead of it. They paid Max Crosby. They were the first ones, right? Max Crosby was the highest paid for like 2 weeks, and then
yeah,
before Myles Garrett. But like in hindsight, like that was the best thing to do, right?
yeah,
So
that's
I don't
smart.
know. It is, and I
I
don't
think
get
he still
why.
had 2 years left on his deal too.
Yeah,
And like you don't want to wait until it's 1 year deal and he goes out and has a crazy season and now he wants like 10 million more than Miles Garrett. Like you don't want to do that. If you have a
exactly.
star and you know you have that's why we're probably going to give Jaden Daniels his contract probably doing or right after his third season. Like
Yeah,
we're not even going to give talk about a fifth year option. We're not even going to wait until the off season of the fourth year start. We're going to try to get that shit in early. And that's what they're setting up to do. Like cuz Adam Peters came from the 49ers. He was one of their most important people in the building. Um I forgot who their GM is, but he was a very important focal part before he came to us, and he was probably in those meetings. Like that's where he got it from. Being a part of the San Francisco 49ers, he wants to get ahead of it early, and that's just a sign of a good GM. But Bengals don't have a GM, so
all
it is what
right.
it is.
Uh oh, speaking about the Steelers, just to switch topics. What you think about Aaron Rodgers? You think that's where does that put the Steelers? Championship contenders?
I don't put him that far. Like I said, man, like Aaron Rodgers to me, yeah, he can still throw it, but his superpower was his mobility to
Hmm.
extend plays, to throw those off bound. He just doesn't move the same to me. I don't know if it was still because of the Achilles last year. He was still getting, healing up from that. But I will tell you this: the Steelers' defense is better. They're better run and run team and a better coached team. Um, we kind of just got to see, man. It might be a perfect fit because the Steelers have been missing a QB for some since Ben Roethlisberger. Like that was like the number one thing that they've been missing since Big Ben retired. And if Aaron Rodgers can come in and be really solid for them, uh, that'll be something. But I'm not banking on it. I think they're like another 9-8 team or 8-9 team. I think their ceiling is like 10-7, and they make the playoffs, but they don't win a playoff game. That's just my opinion. But we'll see. We'll see how good. It all depends on how far Aaron Rodgers can take them, and if how good he looks.
To me, I think the Steelers have an incredible opportunity to set them up for the future. I don't know if this sign is meant to necessarily, um, yeah, I don't know if they're going to be able to compete to the max level of a Super Bowl, but I think they can at least maybe compete and make it into the playoffs, and that's half
Mhm.
of the battle. But for me, what I would say, or what I would like to see, or whatever, is Will Howard needs to be a sponge and needs to just, I know Aaron Rodgers has talked about his mentoring method. He's not one that's gonna coach necessarily someone how to take his spot, but if the person asks and he'll share some, he'll share his ideas and share what he thinks here and there, but he's not necessarily gonna do all the work for the person. And you can see how he helped kind of developed a little bit Jordan Love, and Jordan Love has given respects to Aaron Rodgers and how he mentored him. So this could be a setup for that. Like if I'm Will
Yeah.
Howard, I am soaking everything up and watching how this year goes, and just try to take all the best things from Aaron Rodgers and try to apply it to his game because that's who I think the future is for the Steelers. Really, is Will, right?
Yeah.
So let's see what happens there.
We'll see. We'll see what Will Howard does. We'll see what all these rookie does. Speaking of rookie
Mhm.
quarterbacks, Shador Sanders, he's been looking good, but
Mm,
he reportedly hasn't been getting any reps with the first teams at all. But he's when he gets out there, he does look good. The reports around the facilities is that uh, he's a sponge. He's doing everything the right way.
mhm, mhm.
Some people, from what I've heard, that are saying that he has a chance to start week one, or he has a chance to fight for a starting job week one. But we'll see. I feel like the most important things when it comes to Dylan Gabriel and Shadur Sanders is the preseason. How well who looks good preseason. Whoever looks good preseason is going to get that second string job because I don't think they're going to keep Kenny Pickett and um uh Joe Flacco. My opinion, I think they're going to release Kenny Pickett because you don't need four quarterbacks on your roster, and you're not getting rid of the two rookies that you just
Mhm.
drafted in the third and the fifth round. You're not getting rid of those. So it's either Kenny Pickett or Joe Flacco, in my opinion. I think it's going to be Kenny Pickett. I think he's going to get released. I think Joe Flacco is going to be the starter going in to the preseason, depending on how Shadur Sanders looks. If he looks really good in the preseason and he does everything right and he's learning the playbook, and when he does get those reps with the first team, he looks good. I think he has a chance to start week one. And I say this because what's the benefit of the Browns playing Joe Flacco? Like, what's the benefit of them playing an older guy? Yeah, he might be a little bit better than the two rookies, but what's the benefit of him playing, and how does that outweigh the opportunity to play one of the rookies who can learn, like Jaden Daniels came in and learned, or the Tex CJ Stroud came in and learned. Like, what's the benefit of that? So I think at least at some point Shadur Sanders is going to start this season, but I think he has a real shot to start week one. What do you think?
Maybe. I mean, maybe. I don't. Um. I mean, it would have to be one hell of a showing. Like it would have to be a thing that's like whoa, like it's
Yeah.
so clear. And I don't know if that's gonna be the case.
Yeah.
And honestly, like if you do decide to play him, that's fine. But the worst thing you can do is play the rookie and then later
Bench him.
bench him. So like
Yeah.
if you're gonna play him, they have to be 100 and
100%.
100% certain.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's why it's probably I agree with you in the sense that it's probably less likely that he starts week one,
hmm
but I do think it is
But he will
very
play eventually.
yeah,
Yeah.
he will start at some
And
point
it
this
could be
season.
relatively soon after week. Like
Ye-
I could
Yeah,
see week 5,
yeah,
maybe. You
yeah.
know, but like,
But week one is a stretch. I do agree. Week one is a stretch. It'll
yeah,
have to be something where it's like, okay, he goes out of preseason, first drive in, drives him down the field, accuracy, timing, touchdown. Like it's like, okay. He's ready. We got it. Like we're just derailing. Like they for him to start week one, they would have to feel like, okay, Shadur can take us to the playoffs, or we can win with this guy. If they don't feel
yeah.
like we can win right now, or do anything, it's no point. So he would have to really like show off what he does. I mean, and they have Jerry Judy and they have Deontay Johnson. I know Deontay Johnson kind of went through that crazy world of all those different teams last season, but he before that he was still a really solid wide receiver. Jerry Judy is really solid wide receivers. There's worse wide receiver rooms out there. And then they drafted Quinshon Judkins. So he has some weapons. Might not be top tier, but it's
Yeah.
certainly not bottom tier.
So
So
just want to say that the Browns, their bye week is week 9, which is pretty solid.
mhm.
It's like right in the middle. And prior to that, they would have some hard games. Week 5 would be against the Vikings. I don't think they would throw him out there. I think if they were to throw Shadur out there, it would probably be against the Dolphins or maybe even New England, week 7 or 8, and then go into that week 9 to kind of like look at film and see how they can improve. And then after the
Mhm.
bye week, they got the Jets. So I could definitely see them deciding to play Shadur or Dylan Gabriel or whoever they feel comfortable if they're trying
Yeah,
to make that switch along week 7 to week 10.
that makes sense. That definitely makes
Hmm
sense. Real quick news just came out. Antonio Brown is wanted by police in Miami-Dade County on a criminal charge of attempted murder. So the
Oh
CTE
my god,
ESPN, man, that
dude, that's
CTE.
and I feel
I
so
mean,
bad
it's
for Antonio Brown, but at the same time, the dude causing himself, like I hate to see a man,
yeah,
go through those mental health issues or mental problems and
yeah,
and, and just not doing nothing to help himself.
right.
It's but damn. uh okay.
We'll see because he did get jumped not too long ago.
Oh, I
So
didn't know
I
that
don't know
either.
if that yeah, it was on video where they tried to like fight him and everything. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but if it
Hmm
does, it could be self-defense. We'll see. But he's always in the media. It's just amazingly how he stays in the media and he's not in the league anymore. I just thought I'd throw that out there. That's just something that's like, okay,
No, that's
it's
fine. That's
very
fine.
interesting.
Other than that, I'll just say from the Patriots side, a lot of things. There's a lot of positive news coming out there. The biggest
Mm,
news is what's going to happen with our wide receivers. We have some dark horses in there, some undrafted people that are starting to look really good. If any Patriots fans out there, I this is the signs are that it's gonna be a good season. Again, I think I mean it can kind of go anywhere. Obviously, we the biggest goal is try to win more than 4 games. Um, but even in the losses, I hope these losses are close.
mm,
Especially if it's good against good teams. which that's the biggest test. But we'll see. We'll see. But so far, a lot of good news. A lot of good news coming from the Patriots camp. A lot of hopefulness. A lot of hopefulness.
Yeah.
Is there anything more NFL wise before we turn to the NBA?
Nope. Let's hop right into the NBA
Let's
because
go.
this is something very
I told
interesting
you.
going on.
I told you.
I
Let's see.
I
I want.
thought, listen, I was, hey man, momentum is real. Um, like this is you were right. Indiana really has a chance to really make this thing interesting. The NBA is starting to turn back into teams again. Like the super team era is starting to die off. Like I
Hmm.
feel like these superstars starting to team up. I don't know if that'll work. You got teams like Indiana making the finals now. You got a homegrown team like OKC. Now the second year being the number one seed, you got the Timberwolves coming up. Um, the I don't know if you can call the Knicks a super team. I don't think that's a super team. I mean, they have Jalen Brunson and Cat, but I don't think like there's no super teams made the conference finals this season.
Hmm. Hmm.
Are the Nuggets a super team? Like, what's a super team now? A super team to me is um like the Heat. The Heat was a super team. The Warriors, in my opinion, at when they were at their height, was a super team because they, even though they were homegrown, they had Draymond, Clay, and Steph Curry at the time. Those three people were like top 10, top 15 players in the league at the time when they were in their heyday. So you got Shy, who's top two, or if not top two, number one. The next
He's
player,
number one. He's MVP.
yeah, he's MVP. Their next best player is Will Williams. Now I think he made second team All NBA if I'm not mistaken. He's an
Okay.
All NBA player, but am I putting him top 15 in the league? No, I'm not putting him top 15 in the league. In my opinion, that's just my opinion. But
Hmm.
nobody on Indiana is top 15. I love Halliburton, but I don't know if I'm putting him top 15, bro. Listen, listen, listen. He's averaging 18 points throughout the whole playoff. Now, I know he's been clutch. He has the clutch gene that we've probably the best clutch gene we've probably ever seen in a playoff run.
Hmm.
But when you put up numbers like 18 points, 10 assists, those are really good numbers, but are those top 15 in the league numbers?
I mean, Russell Westbrook was getting a lot of hype for that.
Russell Westbrook is a former MVP. He averaged a 30-point triple double for like 3 seasons.
Okay. Okay.
That's
Okay.
different.
Okay.
But Halliburton, I love, don't get me wrong, I love Halliburton.
Hmm.
But he's the type of player where he doesn't need to score or he doesn't need to show up and be the offense time and time again. He just needs to come through when they call on him because he has his team. That whole team believes in each other. Aaron, what's the dude name? Naismith.
Hmm. Smith.
That boy, bro. I ain't even gonna lie to you, bro.
I told you. I told you
This
about him too.
this whole team, like watching this playoff series, this whole team is so surprising to me, bro. I'm watching
Trevor.
it and I'm like, bro, I did not know they were like, I watched them play the Knicks. I'm watching them play the Knicks. I'm like, okay, the Knicks is bullshitting. They can't score. I'm
You
like,
picked the
I
Knicks
just
though. I got it
I
on
did
you.
pick the Knicks. I
You
did pick
picked
the
the
Knicks. I
Knicks.
picked the Knicks. I picked the Pacers to lose in the first round, bro.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
picked them to lose every series. They done shut me up, bro. They done shut me up. But it just seems like Obi Toppin, like they just all they play so well together, and it's really unexplainable.
Hmm.
TJ McConnell, they all just play great. It feels like a Cinderella story. It really
Yeah.
does. Like we haven't had. I can't remember the last Cinderella story we've seen in the NBA. When was the last Cinderella story we've seen in the NBA where the team, like this is one of the least likely teams to make the finals since I've ever been alive? I think. Like,
And 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 that's fair, but like so the thing the reason why I always believed in the Pacers was because for me they kind of checked a lot of the boxes that I'd look for. Just similar to OKC.
Mhm.
Right. For me, first off, do they have a that one guy, that superstar who, when there's 5 seconds left, right? You know he's getting the ball, right? If there's 5 seconds or you're 10 seconds or whatever, you need the ball. Who's gonna get the ball when the game, when you need someone to like make a decision for that game? Both teams have that. Now, whether Halliburton is points wise, top 15 or whatever, that's something we can obviously have a discussion and fun debate
Mhm.
about. But like, it's clear cut that Halliburton is gonna have the ball in his hand, just like it's clear cut that SGA is going to have the ball in his hand, right? Then after that, it's about the twos and the threes, right? So because while sure the super teams are kind of dead, there still has to be a bona fide two and three, and for most teams, right? I'm still not sold that those are completely gone. Like I don't think you can make it with just those solid, like a bona fide superstar one and a two. You also still kind of need that third, and they need to be consistent. And so for me, Pacers have Myers Garrett and Pascal Siakam, who a lot of people forget about. OKC, they have Chet Holmgren and Jay Williams. And then after that, for me, it goes to the bench. Who has the depth in the bench, right? In OKC, they have started. Now Warren for me is a guy. I mean, Warren or Wiggins,
Wiggins.
Wiggins, and
Um, they got a
uh,
few guys over there. Uh, 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 Alex Caruso, who's a champion who knows how to win. Uh,
I'm not gonna
who
put
else?
him on here yet because he goes to another category. There's someone else.
It's the dude with the dreads. He's a
Yeah,
dog. I can't think of his name, but he's a dog too, bro.
him, and then
He
I
come
think
off
there
the
might
bench.
be one more guy. No,
Um, uh, ISO Joe.
no,
Um, he comes off the bench. Hartenstein comes off the bench. Well, does Hartenstein come off the bench?
no. Hartenstein's a start. Where they switched him
Okay.
out. They switched him out with someone recently for this game. So I think he is coming off the bench. But they have two solid bench players. I think can get you like top teens or maybe even in the 20s, right?
Yeah.
For me though, the Pacers have three of those, right? They have Neesmith.
Is
They
he?
have
He's Naismith comes off the bench.
no, 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 no.
Yeah, he starts.
He starts. But
T.J.
they
McConnell.
TJ McConnell,
Um,
um,
Obi Toppin.
Obi Toppin, yeah.
Um,
Who else? Shepard, no, Shepard's a starter.
they
Um,
got another good bench player
yeah.
too.
Let me
But
let
I
me.
think, but I think this is where the NBA is turning to because this is why I think we're leaving the superstar era because teams used to be so top heavy.
Yeah,
The Warriors in their heyday were top heavy. The Miami Heat were top heavy. Like those are the two teams that were the Cavs when LeBron was on the Cavs, Bulls in the Eastern Conference. They were top heavy, even though they were really one or two players heavy, but they were top heavy. Um, teams are deeper now, bro. They got like the OKC and the Pacers. They go like 8, 9, 10 deep sometimes. In a
yeah.
game.
And,
So
but the Heat were like that too. I mean, a lot of teams are like that. Like they have the top three, but it's always not just about the top three. They have a solid bench. Like the Miami Heat needed Ray Allen, right? And they needed
well, Ray Allen
uh
started.
yeah, but he was like a six man.
They
He
had Mike.
he
I would say Mike Miller. The
Mike
Miami Heat
Miller,
had
Shane
Mike Miller
Battier,
off the Shane
Shane,
Battier came off the bench
right?
and put in some good numbers. But but let's be real though. If like I'm saying, like some of the bench players on the Pacers and the OKC, they can start for other teams. That's what I'm saying.
Mm.
Wiggins, when like they're young. I think at some point in their career they can start. When the Miami Heat players would come
Yeah,
off their bench, they were older. Shane Battier and my uh Mike, I forgot his name, and Ray Allen, those guys were older. So my
Mike
this is
Miller.
Mike Miller. This is my thing. Like these are teams that are going to grow with each other. So when you look down 5 years down the line, OKC and the Pacers, their team could look very similar 5 years
Yeah.
from now. So
So,
that's my whole thing. And they like
but
they didn't like
let me finish this thing because I put up the rosters, the depth chart. So besides the three for OKC,
mhm.
Dort is a guy, right? Dort is definitely a guy. Wiggins was a guy, and then Wallace. Wallace was that third, right?
But
And then
Dort,
for
I
it,
think Dort starts too though.
that where they switch him in and out, but yes, he right as of right now he is a starter, but they still like put him in, here and
Yeah.
there. And then for the Pacers, it's Shepard, T.J. McConnell, Toppin, and then Mathurin,
Mathurin.
Mathurin.
I forgot
Uh
about him too. I think Ben
huh.
starts too, but he's slept on. He had like 20 something points last night.
So with those, right? With those, that's four solid bench players that show up for Indiana compared to the three that show up for OKC. And for me, the reason why I didn't want to add Caruso, but we could, is for me, Caruso's that veteran, right? He's that veteran. He's been there, like you said, championship experience and
Mhm.
all of that. But I think the person that has that and helps him out is twofold. I mean, there's like, well, it's Pascal Siakam, who's the veteran and has
Mhm.
championship, and so does James Johnson, which I think is a very he's not playing, but he gets that he's
He
the
gives a
team has
veteran presence.
yeah, and he was part of that Miami Heat team. Like if we're trying to
Yeah.
talk about like, so I mean, it's those teams are just so equal in their playing
This
style.
is
Like the thing about OKC that I've always heard is that OKC is super athletic. They can their turnovers. They're gonna run. Well, that's the Pacers' bread and butter.
mhm.
So it's just can they limit the turnovers? If you limit the turnovers against OKC and you can maybe get them just running a lot, then you have a solid chance. And lastly, I think OKC exuberated a lot of energy in that Game 7 series against Denver, where Pacers did not have to necessarily, and
I,
now
I
you
will
see
s-
it.
I
Now you're
will say
starting to
the
see that.
Pacers. I didn't think that the Pacers would affect them because they do play full court defense the whole game. And I
Oh,
didn't think that would affect OKC, but it has. Like you can tell, last game it wore them down. Last game they were
yeah.
shy Jilgis. They were tired at the end of the game. But think about playing a full court defense. I would think that would wear the Pacers out, but that did not. Like they looked tired that last game. I'm not gonna lie. It'll be interesting to see how they come out game 4. But when I said the super team era is over, the biggest thing in my mind that I think separates like these two teams and like those super team eras and all those different teams because is that the best player for the Pacers is Halliburton.
Yeah.
If Halliburton goes out and has a 10.8 assist night and he shoots like 40%, they can still blow a team out. They can still have a good, they can
Mm,
still beat a good team and they can still beat a good because they've won games where he only had like 12 points and they won convincingly. Shy Gilgeous Alexander can go out and only put up like he's the leading league scorer. He think he had 31, 32 points, but he can score like 19 or 20, but then Williams can come out and have 25 or Chet could come out and have 18. And then you look up at the scoreboard and they're blowing the team out because they got bench players also coming in that's having 10, 10, 8. So the scoring isn't so heavily put on the stars, I think. Now, granted, Shy Gilgeous scores a lot of points. In my mind, they don't need him to score a lot of points because they have scores on that team. They don't necessarily need him to score. He's going to score because no one can stop him, but they don't necessarily need him to score to win. in my mind. And same thing for the Pacers. They don't necessarily need Halliburton to put up monster scoring numbers for them to win. And it showed. It showed. He's only averaged 18 points this whole playoffs. They've won
Yeah,
games where
but
he
at the
had
same,
14 points. And
but they need they. I mean,
they don't
maybe
need him to
throughout the
score to
course,
win.
but like he does need to. No, he does though. Like I would say, he needs to at least score more than 22. Like Halliburton needs to score more than 22 against this OKC team because of Shine, because of how deep this OKC team is.
I
OKC team
disagree.
is.
I don't think he needs to
They need
score.
him because they
I don't
left
think he needs
out.
to. He
That
doesn't
game
need to
one
average
was left.
22 points. He doesn't
He
need to average
no.
20. He just needs to average 18. That's it. He just needs to average 18. Some nights he might have 25. Some nights he might have 14, but he doesn't need to average 22 points. Like he
Hmm.
does. He averages 10 assists. And then he has players who hit their like look at their 3-point shooting numbers this playoffs. Look
Hmm.
up their 3-point shooting numbers this playoffs. Look at the players who are hitting threes because he penetrates and finds them. He doesn't need to score. And these players that are hitting these threes, they're not necessarily known for like being the best 3-point shooters in the league. They just play as a team and they're on rhythm, they're on time, and they play like a brotherhood, just like how OKC has been playing for the last 2-3 seasons. That's how Indiana is playing this right now in this playoff run. That's why they're so hard to beat. They locked
Yeah,
in. And
they're like
that's what
they're like.
basketball supposed to be about. Is my whole point. I'm glad it's getting out of the super team era where you need a star. You need KD to join up with Steph. You need LeBron to join up with D Wade. I'm glad it's getting out of that era because now we can watch basketball. Like the Sacramento Kings could come out, or what's another young team? The Spurs could come out next season and get the 3rd seed, and I'll be like, that's what's up. Like that's what I want. I want these young teams to start winning games without joining forces with superstars. That's what
But
my
they
whole.
need to though. Like
I
that's
don't
still
think they
not
need to.
that's not a thing because Miles Turner is a superstar. Pascal Siakam is a superstar.
So
Halliburton is a superstar.
what's
Whether
a
maybe
superstar?
not points wise,
What's
but
your
like
definition of a superstar? Because I think our two definitions of a superstar is different. My
okay,
definition of a superstar is if you can go to an away game and sell out the crowd because everybody's there for you, even though you're an away opponent. There's only a handful of those guys in the league. There's
did you
only a
get that from
handful of.
First Take? No. Yeah, yeah, I heard that. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, you was
Uh
over
huh.
there. You was over there like, hold on, wait. I heard that shit before.
Word
But I
for
agree with that
word.
shit though. I agree with that
Word
shit.
for word.
I agree with that shit, bro. It's only 5. It's only
uh,
like 5 legit superstars. It's Jokic. It's Doncic. It's it's Shy right now. You got to put LeBron in it because it's LeBron. Like LeBron is going to be it,
mhm.
and you got to put Steph in it, and it's Steph. And I throw in
Giannis,
uh Giannis. I throw in Giannis in there, and fuck it, I throw in the Timberwolves guard too. I can't think of his name right now.
Anthony, Edwards,
Anthony Edwards. There's only a few.
not Victor
So
Wembanyama.
there's
I
more
mean,
than.
based off of that, definite Victor Wembanyama.
I'm not throwing him in there as a super. He's known, but
People are not wanting to
okay,
go see
if
the
you
games just to see. I for the first
okay,
time
yes,
ever, I'm really trying to
yes.
go see a
If
Spurs when they come here because I want to see Victor Wembanyama.
okay, you can throw Victor in there solely off of what I said, people coming to see superstars. But Halliburton is not a superstar to me. He's a star. So what's your definition of a superstar? What makes you a superstar?
For me, what makes you a superstar is if you are the man, the face, the go-to guy
So there's
for
32.
that team and for the team that and it's because you have earned it consistently through multiple years. For me, that is the definition of a
So
superstar.
there's 30 superstars in the league right now. Because every team has that.
Do they
Every
consistently?
team has that. Every
Oh,
team has that. Even the Wizards have it.
who?
Um, uh, the dude
Uh,
that played with
uh,
Golden State,
the
he's their
dude, the
star.
dude.
He's their star though. He scores more points than Halliburton. He's their leader. He's done it for multiple seasons.
And has helped put them in a position to win.
You didn't say put him in a position, so they got to be in a
That
position to win.
To
So
succeed. To
so
succeed.
Wembanyama isn't a superstar then, and
No,
he's just a sophomore. So that's my
I mean,
thing.
he's
That's
just
my
a sophomore because he hasn't taken them to succeed. So yeah, he's not. Yeah,
so
he's just a
he's
star.
not so that's my thing. It's hard to figure out what a superstar is.
No,
In
it's
my
not.
opinion,
No,
it is
it's
because you
not.
just said
No, it's
Wembanyama was
not.
a superstar.
It's the face of the team, the person that's the face of the team, that's getting the max contract, that is that guy who is your got symbol of consistency that takes your team to success consistently. So, like for instance, superstar, right? Nokic, yeah, because he has taken that team to success
I agree with
consistently.
Jokic.
LeBron, Giannis, all these names that we are naming, we name them because
I
they've
agree with
taken the
those,
team to
bro.
success consistently. And guess what? The Pacers are starting to do that because they have been last year they went to the finals on the back of
Last year,
Halliburton.
that's not
And then this
consistent.
year they're in the
That's
finals. That's two
that's
years.
2 years. That 2 years
That's
is
2 years.
consistent,
Okay, fine, fine. I mean, better than some, but if you want, I'll reserve it. I'll reserve it for one more year.
bro.
But if he makes it, if he makes it, if he gets a max contract and he makes it back to the playoffs, the dude was an all star. He was on the NBA
Listen,
US team. He has a gold medal. Like,
today,
I
listen,
mean,
listen
I
to me. He didn't
mean, what are
play.
we
He
talking
didn't
about?
play though. He has a gold
That's
medal. He didn't
fair.
play not
That's
1 minute.
fair.
But
That's
listen,
fair.
listen. Halliburton is a star on her way to being a superstar. He is not a superstar yet to me. Superstars are people like you said who have
Okay.
done it year
If
in
he
and year
wins,
out
if
at
he
a
wins this
top
championship,
tier
does that
level.
change? Does he if he wins that championship, does that change at all?
Of course it changes. But
Okay.
right now,
Okay. Okay.
you
Okay.
cannot say he's a
Okay.
superstar. Like
Okay.
to
Okay.
me, like
Okay.
we have to differentiate superstar with star. Like there has to be some cutoff line. Like
There is.
there's certain guys who are superstars. Now, this playoffs has
Yeah.
really grown Halliburton so far. He just dropped his shoe. This
Yeah.
was the perfect time to drop his personal shoe, his shoe line.
Which is
Like
smart. Which is smart.
this, which is very smart. He's on his way, but right now I cannot say he's if he comes, like you say, if he comes out again next year, 3 years in a row, makes it to the Eastern Conference
No, no, no.
Finals,
If he wins, he's a
even if he
superstar.
lose, yeah, if he wins, but even if he loses
Okay.
and
If
he
he
comes out
loses,
next year, even if he
comes
loses and
back
comes out next year to Eastern Conference Finals and does the same thing, he's officially a star. But
a superstar.
there's a he's officially a superstar. My bad.
Okay. Okay.
There's
Okay.
a lot of stars in this league,
Okay. That's
but
fair.
there's
Yeah.
only a few superstars. There's only a
I
few
can agree with
superstars.
that. I can. I
And
can
and
agree with
and
that.
to me, Shy just became a superstar this season. He wasn't a superstar last year. To me, he was not a superstar last year. He was
I
a
don't know if he's a
superstar
superstar yet,
because
but
now he's a superstar. They was the number one seed, even though they got out of the playoffs, or they was the number one seed last year. He damn near led the league in scoring again last year. He came back this year, won MVP. The MVP solidified it for me. Like when you win MVP, you damn near a superstar. There's never been an MVP winner that wasn't a superstar in the NBA. When you win an MVP, that's damn near your ticket to winning, to being in a superstar. When you are the best player on your team and you win the finals, that's damn near a ticket
okay,
to being a
okay,
superstar.
okay.
But again, Halliburton didn't even win Eastern Conference MVP. That went to Siakam. So you could make a case that Siakam's more of a star than Halliburton. That's all I'm
We're not
saying.
gonna
Like
do that now. We're not gonna do that now.
he's not. Listen.
Siakam was able to put those points up because Halliburton is the facilitator. He
No, you're
does
not gonna say
everything
that.
else.
You're
Come
not gonna
on
say
now.
that. You're not
Come
gonna say
on
that because
now.
I
Come
watch
on
Siakam.
now. Come
No.
on
I
now.
watch
Come on
Siakam
now.
back down his defender, turn around, shoot a Kobe shot over and over and over again. I watch Siakam shoot, make crazy tough shots on great defense. It was not
Yeah.
all because of Halliburton. Halliburton was setting his whole team up. Don't get me wrong. He averaged 10 assists.
Okay.
But Siakam was the difference. And I said that from the beginning, before the series even started, before the New York Knicks series even started. I said the difference was going to be Siakam, and he was in that series because he ended up winning Eastern Conference Finals, and they had no answer for him. They still don't have a. I think Siakam has been the best scoring player on this team this finals.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. That's
So
fine. That's fine. I digress. I would agree. I could, because I mean he was the number one for the Raptors, right? When they went on the run with Kawhi Leonard, He was a
Mhm.
big part of that,
And he started
and
in the G League too. Shout out to
that's
Siakam, man.
fair.
He
Yeah,
he
yeah.
did it the hard way, just like Alex Caruso. Two G League guys worked their way into the
White
league,
Mamba.
work their way into roles that are important. You
That's what
said
they
who?
call That's what they call Caruso.
Yeah,
White Mamba.
White Mamba. They
Yeah.
call Scalabrini White Mamba too, though. But yeah,
Oh, they did. Yeah, 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 yeah.
yep,
But
yep.
man, it's
I gotta get
yeah,
up out
yeah,
of here
for sure.
soon. But let's go ahead and wrap it up though. But who you got
You already
winning the
know.
finals officially?
You already know.
You got the Pacers winning?
Hell yeah.
All right. Because I got the Thunder coming back winning it in seven.
In seven, I
I
could
got them.
see it. I could
I
see it
got
going
them
to game
winning it.
seven.
I think they win the next game. And then I
Yeah,
think they win the next game after that. I think they go up 3-2. But I think the Pacers win at home for game six, and then the Thunder come back game seven and take it away. I think this goes to game seven, and this is a very intriguing finals that none of us thought. A lot of people thought it was going to be a 4-0 blowout. I thought they were going to win
I did it.
4-0 or it was going to go to 5 games. But the Pacers, they're
I'm
surprising me, bro.
telling you, they're just
And
scratching.
listen, this is the thing. This is the thing that I personally keep forgetting. Their head coach, he's a great coach, bro. I don't think we're like talking about him enough. I'm forgetting his name, bro, but he's been around for a long time.
Rick
He's Rick
Carlisle.
Carlisle.
Yeah, Carlisle.
Bro is a great coach, and it's showing. It's showing, bro.
He
They
got
need to
my
sign him to
respect.
they need to sign him to multiple years if he's not already signed to multiple years.
Well, yeah, I mean, and guess which team he used to coach for? But then
Hold on,
Nico
wait, let me
Harrison let
look.
him go.
Oh, the
Oh,
Mavs?
yeah, he's the one that helped. He was the coach when the Mavs went and won with Dirk
Dirk
Nowitzki and all
Nowitzki.
that. That he was that coach. He was a
Nico Harrison has been around that long?
no, 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 no. I don't know if Nico Harrison
Oh,
had, but
oh, okay.
when Nico Harrison came in and all of that was going on, that's when he left,
Okay. Okay.
and that's when um, yeah, that's when Rick
Got you.
went back to Indiana. So man, no,
All
and I
right.
agree, and I agree. He has championship experience, and I think that plays a big role. So, all
Okay.
right, man. Well, you have a good one. To everyone out there, have a good night. Let's see how this finals wraps up. And until next time,
All right, Brody. See you next time.
peace.
Peace out.